Hey friends, Rob here. Thanks for stopping into my channel. Did you take my attention span test yet? And if you haven't, it's in my shorts, and I'll try to figure out how to put a link in this video so you can take it after you watch this. So, all right, this is going to be, for me, I want to talk about something for a little bit. First of all, let me put the disclaimer out there about me. I'm a retired bus driver, and I have a little room. I call it a studio, and I got a bunch of guitars on the wall. I call myself a guitar enthusiast, and I've managed to figure out how to play those instruments enough to play in a dad band and stuff like that. I've never played in a band that went out and actually, did gigs and got compensated. I've never done that. I played on a live stage one time, and I have no formal education in regards to music. I do YouTube channels it's kind of a hobby for me, and as well as guitars and the gear. It's all hobby stuff for me. And I find it to be real entertaining. I have loads of fun with this, regardless of if I'm famous or not. That's not the point. It's really fun for me to do this stuff in between walking the dog. Yeah, that's my life. So I want to talk about a video I saw. I'm sure a lot of you have heard who Rick Beato is, and I've subscribed to Rick Beato's channel for a number of years. I actually found I found Rick Beato's channel because one day came into my feed a rant that he was doing about how much he hated Apple products. Well, I don't know, hated, but he was just frustrated with them, and I certainly understood the frustrations that he was having. They were very valid complaints or frustrations. Anyhow, it was a pretty cool rant. And that's how I found Rick Beato's channel. I wasn't looking for a music channel or anything. But I subscribed to it, and I found it to be entertaining. Even though when he's talking about some of the music theory stuff and some of the seventh sus chords diminished and all that stuff, sometimes it sounds like he's speaking Chinese, but I watch it. I think it's entertaining. And I actually probably do learn some stuff from it, hearing it over and over and over. I've never bought the bundle from him or anything like that. Not because I don't think it's a good value. I'm going to be 68 pretty soon, and I'm not investing in my musical career or anything at this point. I'm retired, so be it. But I watched his video that was just that he put up in regard. He was responding to an email that he got from one of his subscribers, I guess, and I was amazed at as big a channel as Rick Beato's channel is, and as many views as he gets, and the stuff that he does, and the people he talks to, and I mean, to me, he's an Einstein of music, right? But I couldn't believe how much power he gave to one person who was critical of his channel in an email. And as a matter of fact, the criticism was ridiculous, I thought. The person I from what I understand, was criticizing the fact that he's interviewing people that, I don't even know. He said, the guy said in the email. Well, I just got to say that the interviews that I've seen that Rick Beato has done with some of these people have been amazing and a huge contribution to just everybody who gets to watch him, I guess. He had the guy on that he was a studio musician, a piano player, things. I'll have to look that up, who that guy was. I think his name was West. He worked with Glenn Campbell, and just the story was amazing. Let me look. Oh, so it was the interview was with Jimmy Webb, and he worked with Glenn Campbell, and I didn't know who Jimmy Webb was, but I thought it was like a history lesson and so super interesting to find out what he had done and who he'd worked with. It's just, these people formed a generation through music. Their contribution in music was monumental. I mean, it was just incredible, right? And so anyhow, for instance, Rick Beato interviewed Kurt Hammett, the guy in Metallica. I've never been a metal fan or whatever, heavy metal. I've never been into that kind of music, and I've always been aware of Metallica. I've never bought any of their music or anything. I'm not really that aware of Metallica. But Kurt Hammett was on with Rick Beato, and it was so cool to hear this guy talk about his Les Paul. Was actually the Les Paul that Peter Green played when he was in Fleetwood Mac back when I was a kid. And then Gary Moore wound up with that Les Paul, and that Les Paul was, broken at one point and put back together. And Kurt was telling the story about this Les Paul, and in the end, he says, I'm just sort of the custodian of this guitar. I'm not really the owner. It belongs to, the people. And I thought it was such a cool story just about the guitar. But also, it was so cool to hear this guy talk about his experience with music and all the stuff you never hear about or would never even imagine. His experiences with just life in general, but how he experiences music, not just in Metallica, And that's what I really like about those interviews that Rick Beato does. They are so cool and so informative, and I look forward to them. He had three heavy metal guys on all together one day on an interview, and I don't even know who they are, but it was so interesting to hear how they arrived at the point they're at, and how they play and how they practice and how they warm up, and they talked about gear. It's just very, very cool. So I hope Rick Beato never quits doing that stuff. And I don't think he's. First of all, I think Rick Beato is to me, he's like Einstein in music, right? He's got a college education in music, and I didn't have the appreciation for that until I started rubbing shoulders in a band environment with people who are actually schooled and educated in music. And when they would just make a simple request to me to do one thing or another, or on a I can't even explain what the questions were. And because I'm not educated. I'm musically illiterate. I play with my fingers and my ear and and my desire to learn stuff. That's about it. And so there's really a big difference between an educated musician and a guy like me. So, and it's really hard for an educated musician to communicate with a guy like me. Well, it's probably impossible, let's say, because they know what they need or what they want, and they understand what they're asking. And an uneducated musician like myself, I am sure that my mouth drops open and I stare, because I don't know what they're talking about. So there's a huge difference between an educated musician and just an enthusiast, right? I've experienced that firsthand. I've seen the educated musicians slap their forehead and shake their head at me because I really don't know what they're talking about. So, and I still watch Rick Beato talk about stuff that's over my head, and he's a very influential person. I mean, he was on another YouTuber, another musician has a YouTube channel called Coffee with Ola. And I subscribe to that because he does the same thing. He interviews musicians, and it's interesting. It's informative. So yeah, Rick Beato, he's got some influence. As a result of following up with some of the people he's had on and stuff, I've checked out certain stuff on my YouTube channel that and then all of a sudden I realized that the algorithm starts dumping a bunch of stuff into my channel based on what I've searched, and so it kind of it goes up and down one way or another depending upon what I search on. But lately I've been getting a bunch of Metallica stuff in my feed, so I've been getting a bunch of history on Metallica, and I know they've had some hit songs through the years that I'm aware of. I'm just not aware of what they are right offhand because I just was never a follower, So, but if you've made it this far in this video, this is really kind of a departure for me. For as far as making videos go. But if you've made it this far, these are points that you can apply toward your attention span test on my channel in the short section. It's actually in a playlist called WTF, but I'll try and figure out how to put a link on here. Since this is my hobby, it might take me a little time. So that's what I wanted to say. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the future.